All right, guys. Rick, you just want to start this off?
Uh, Going into a game against a team you've never beaten, uh, staring at the possibility of 3-4 and 1-3, how much urgency do you feel, and how much do you sense in the players and the staff?
Yeah, all the above. First of all, a lot of times you throw around the Power Five teams and the group of the others. This is a Power Five team. They've got my vote, and the sooner they get to a Power Five conference, the better. We can start that campaign. But they are a Power Five team in every way. You look offensively; they've had over 600 yards 3 games. They had 400 yards against Colorado and Alabama. Weapons at quarterback, 2 wide receivers that are big-time players, 2 tailbacks, a tight end. Always had a really good offensive line and have a really good scheme. They've given up 2 sacks all season. Both of them were against Colorado, so they've gone, 6 of 7 games, I guess, without a sack. Defensively, they have definitely upgraded from a talent standpoint. You've seen it every year. So they're a handful. So, yeah, I mean, there's a tremendous amount of urgency. I don't think it's a lack of confidence. You go back, I talked to our team today, and it means nothing outside our room, but Houston went into Tulsa at 4-1. Houston had beaten Arizona, lost to Texas Tech 27-24. Tulsa beats them 45-17. San Diego State's beaten Arizona State and Stanford. Boise goes in and beats them 31-14 in their own stadium. All that's great little talk. This is a full-on challenge. We got whipped by Fresno State, and no disrespect to Fresno State, but Colorado State is, to me, the most talented team in this league. So yeah, it's a handful and it's a challenge, but that's why you do this. That's why you coach and that's why you play, and it all starts with me. So I've been pleased. We've had really good physical practices. I can tell our football team feels like it's backed in the corner, and we all know what's coming in here Friday night, and we all know what it's going to take to make this game competitive.
How much does losing Teton affect your offensive line? In fact, you kind of plugged him in and things were looking good.
Yeah, a week ago at this time, we're kind of talking here of maybe we've turned a corner running the football, coming out of the Tulsa and Air Force games. We felt good about Teton. We felt good about Chris Estrella, thought we were making progress. All of a sudden, the 5th play of the game, we lose Teton. And we also lost Izzy Castellanos. He's out for the game. He had concussion symptoms, actually on a extra point, on a field goal, on the one field goal we missed up at Fresno. So he's out. So all of a sudden, you lose Teton and you lose Castellanos. That's a big void. So we thought we were getting some continuity there. We lost continuity and we lost talent. We lost ability at that position. So obviously that's a handful. And Teton's looks serious. I don't know if we'll get him back, quite honestly. He's having an MRI, I believe, today or tomorrow. And then Israel Castellanos came in and played, but really wasn't himself from that field goal, which was in the first quarter, for the rest of the game. And then now he's out. So it's a challenge, no question.
So real quick follow-up, what's your O-line then expected to look like?
There's only a couple options, so I think Chris Estrella will go at tackle. Charlie Grammel will come in and start at guard. And then Ray Baylor will play some in there. So, you lose a lot by Chris Estrella, who's a new guy himself, didn't have spring practice. He started getting going a little bit at guard, and now you have to move him to tackle. So it's a work in progress, as it's been. We were at the crossroads last week where we thought both personnel-wise and identity-wise we were starting to make some progress there. Then all of a sudden we're kind of back to to square one again on that offensive line.
As far as trying to slow them down, how difficult of a task is that going to be when I think I saw somebody, they punted like 4 times in 4 meetings against you guys, where they just keep that
Yeah.
going.
Yeah, you know, they only snapped the ball, I think, 52 times last year in our game, and it was play after play of just explosiveness. And when you look at their skill guys, and you know, I actually showed our entire team some clips of their skill guys, and there's one word to describe it, and this is an absolute compliment, is violent. When their running backs touch it, they're looking to run you over and hurt you. When number 4 catches the ball at wide receiver, you know, he's not the long, slender wide receiver. He's the physical wide receiver. You know, the violence in which they're skill players. Number 81, the other wide receiver. I mean, they come off the ball and they run great routes. So it's a yeah, it's the biggest challenge. It's the biggest challenge we've had. And you know, you look at the Alabama tape. Quite honestly, it was a challenge for Alabama. Once Colorado State got going a little bit in the second half, Alabama had their hands full. You know, they had 400 yards, and they are, in my opinion, you know, I watch a lot of just college football when I get a chance. They have to be one of the top offensive teams in the entire country. I don't care at what division of football. And it's led by a quarterback who I think is an NFL definite prospect at quarterback, and right now probably playing the best football in this conference at quarterback.
Coach, in all aspects of your strategy and effort and everything you put forth last Saturday night, most of it's not working.
Yeah.
And you get a 0 on the scoreboard. I don't want this to be a rhetorical question, just what's that feeling inside your gut?
Yeah, Henry, I think that's a great question. You know, first of all, you feel a responsibility. You feel a responsibility because, you know, we went into that game with an open date, and we've come out of open dates pretty good. But obviously, this open date, there wasn't a great plan to get our team ready. Then I think the second thing is, and I used this word, you know, Monday, was you have to adjust and you have to adapt. You know, you can't tuck your tail between your legs and say, oh my God, what's happening here? You got to come up with solutions, and you have to adapt. And that's what we've tried to do. You know, coaches, we got back from Colorado State, you've heard this, you know, we got back at 4 o'clock in the morning, I guess, 4 o'clock, and we were in there at 8 o'clock Sunday morning, and our team came in at 4:30, and it was completely about adjusting. You know, here we are. This thing's been built around being able to run the football, but we get at Fresno and we can't run the ball. And now we lose 2 offensive tackles from that point on. 5th play of the game. What do? Do you just keep doing what you're trying to do, but it doesn't work? No. We tried to put Tavaka in there. We tried to throw it a little bit. You know, defensively, they're attacking our safeties now with deep balls, although they attacked our corners. I don't know if I played in a game when there was as many deep balls as Fresno threw, and threw them accurately with fast receivers running down the field. This game is all about adapting and adjusting as you go. And as a coach, that's what you do. You change your plan a little bit. You tweak your plan without panicking, and you try to figure out the best way to go to play this game this week. And we've been pretty good at that. You know, we've been outmanned a lot of times here, quite honestly. And as a team and a coaching staff, how do we have everybody aligned to go play the very best we can play each and every week? And that's what this is. And, you know, that's when the head coach has to be at his best. You know, I'm not sure I've been at my best the last couple of weeks. You know, there's been a lot of distractions. There's been a lot of issues. There's been a lot of talk. There's been a lot of opinion. You know, it's all about these 12 games and being at your absolute best, starting with me.
Who would be your backup right there?
Yeah, it's, you know, Nick Iconvangelo would go at guard potentially, and Charlie Grammel has played at tackle. He would be the next tackle. We've also worked Bo Hot because we're in a position now where everybody has to be ready to play. You know, we've lost that many players on the offensive line. So again, we've got enough guys. You know, we're going to put 5 out there. You know, and nobody cares once that ball's kicked off. You know, we played, for instance, we played at Fresno. You know, Gurgle didn't play 1 snap. Kenneth Maxwell went out. He actually sprained his ankle in pregame. So not only Gurgle, but then Maxwell was out. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That's why you have to go and you have to adjust. Nobody cares. That's what football is. But we'll get a tackle in there. Now, it may not be the prototype long, tall, pass protection kind of tackle, but we'll get a tackle in the game, and we'll keep going. Marty?
Coach, it must be encouraging that Nevada put 42 points on what you say a Power 5 type team. So they put up 42, and I watched the game, and it looked like they were able to move the ball. Does they give you some encouragement you can put some points on these guys?
Well, I think, Utah State, I think, had 211 the week before. But, yeah, Nevada was impressive. You look at Nevada's receivers, I think it was 19, 17, and there was another one. Nevada's gone now with Ty Gongi at quarterback, the kid that played against us at the end of the year that was really good. They kind of tried to do some different things early. How they threw the ball in the game was incredible. They had a halfback pass for a touchdown. They had a screen, I think, for a touchdown. Big plays in the passing game. They didn't run it an inch. Not an inch in the game. They didn't. I mean, they threw it, and they did a great job throwing it. I don't think that's us. And Colorado State's a really good defensive team. It wasn't just a few years ago. That was kind of, they were a little bit like us. We played some games where both teams were up and down the field. They have recruited at a very high level, and their defense is built up. I mean, they're a good-looking football team on defense. They've got a slot that they turned into a corner, number 14, that starts. They had 8 and 14 at slot last year, two very explosive guys. Well, 14 went to corner. They've got a safety, number 11, that transferred from Utah that's explosive as heck. They've got a big inside linebacker, number 55, that looks like he could play for anybody. They have made a total commitment to football, and they are on the brink of being in a Power 5 conference, in my opinion. They are that kind of a team. And they certainly, they've sold out their last 2 games at home, I believe. Their game against Air Force is already sold out with standing room only seating, and they've got it going. They've got a stadium that has all the amenities, and they deserve credit. And they've done a good job coaching. They don't only have good players; they're in a pro-style scheme that is like the Alabamas of the world, the USCs of the world, the teams that get the top-notch talent. They're in that pro-style scheme, where you're not going to sack them, you're not going to cause chaos, they're going to run the ball enough. There's a good plan of how they've done that there, and they've done a great job. They've done a great job.
Is there a benefit after a game like that against Fresno State to having a short week, or would you like that extra time?
I think there might be. I think just the enthusiasm. First of all, getting the kids back Sunday. Because we'll take Saturday off, will be our day off this week. So you have the players every day. There's not that deal where players are away from you for 24 hours and you have a chance to kind of get into a bunch of opinions and a bunch of groups trying to talk about what happened. You get them in there, we got them in there Sunday at 4:30 and full on watch that entire tape, offense and defense, and took about 2 hours at least. And then we got into the Colorado State. So I think from the standpoint of having your team together, we had them Sunday for 4 hours, got them out of there at probably 8:30 Sunday night. They were back in there at 8 o'clock Monday morning, because we do go in the mornings. So there was no time to sit back and lick your wounds or feel sorry for yourself, for coaches or players. You had to get up off the mat and go. Now, with that said, I'm not sure having Colorado State coming in here on Friday night's the best remedy. But you know what? We'll keep going. There's a lot of football left.
What is Lamar Jordan's psyche? Where's his head at right now?
Been tough for Lamar. Again, he hasn't had a lot of opportunities. He didn't play against Tulsa, where there were plenty of opportunities. Air Force was more of a dive kind of game where we had that inside zone going. And then against Fresno, there was nothing going. And from a pass protection standpoint, he has no chance because the ends are just up the field in his face. Psyche-wise, I think he's really good. I do. I think he is mature. I know he cares about this team. I know he realizes that we're kind of backed in a corner, and whatever we have to do, we have to do. I really do feel good about him from a psyche standpoint. Now, does he wish he was playing better? Absolutely. Because when Because when he's playing better, we're playing better. But it just has been kind of an odd kind of a season. Let's call it what it's been. It's been a roller coaster of what was that in Will Ferrell movie? What's that movie called when he says, "I'm in a glass house of emotion," when he was in the telephone booth? Anchorman. It's been a glass house of emotion now. I'm about ready to kick Baxter off the bridge here.
Coach, with that said, are you thinking about maybe having the rotation at quarterback again for this game?
You know, I think we have to do what we have to do, Van. I really do. We have to do what we have to do, and it's all hands on deck. We might line one of them up at offensive tackle if it really gets down to it. But yeah, you know, we're full on. I do think our backs, and we've said this, have to somehow get into more of a rhythm. You know, against Fresno State, we turned into a perimeter, finesse, schematic kind of trying to create plays on the perimeter, almost to the point where it just kind of caved in on us, where we had no physicality at all. And I know why. You know, you look all of a sudden and, you know, the offensive line isn't kind of in sync to what it's been, but we just turned into a pile of nothing a little bit. We did throw the ball. You know, Tavaka made some throws, but that's not going to win you the game. We just kind of have to be what we are and give ourselves the best chance to win. So I do see different quarterbacks playing in this game.
Is Girdle going to be back this weekend? Is Rayshon Epting?
Epting's out. Epting had a shoulder. He won't play this week. Gurgle, there's a chance he practiced today without the knee brace. He's close. We thought he had a chance to go at Fresno, but he warmed up and couldn't just go. I would say Gurgle's out, Maxwell's out, Epting's out. I think that's, and obviously Israel Castellanos is out.
The future. Well, you got banged up the other night, you lose a game, it hurts, all of that. You get them back. Is there an inspirational message you gave your team, something to look forward to? One in particular, that your fans say, hey, we get 3 wins, we're in a bowl, 4, we're in a bowl for sure. Do any of those messages help ever?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the message of we're 3-3. There might have been a few years ago you guys be high-fiving me right now if we were 3-3. I mean, let's be honest, right? Let's be honest. I mean, so we're 3-3. I talked to you about what Tulsa did. I talked to you about what Boise did to San Diego State. There's 6 games left. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of that. I'm not as big picture as I mentioned, rather than just what do we do like right now today with Colorado State coming in here. You know, so yeah, I mean, there's a lot of positives. It's just we're backed in a corner personnel-wise a little bit right now, and we're going to play a really good team this week. And we got shocked a little bit at Fresno. You know, that was a game that, you know, that thing of, boy, I didn't see that coming. You know, I knew Fresno was improved. I knew Fresno has always been a little more talented than us, honestly, since we've been here. I just thought us playing them the first time, we'd be able to move the ball on them. And I probably didn't anticipate them launching the ball down the field quite as much. But the quarterback, a graduate transfer from Oregon State, he's a good player. And number 1 and number 3 and those receivers are good players. And all of a sudden, Fresno's won 3 straight conference games. So Henry, again, I mean, it's not doomsday. We are backed in a corner right now, and we've got to find some solutions and keep fighting, and I know we will.
Hey, Coach, I know you already talked about Ford Gallup, but what do you do when you know the guy's going to make 10 catches a game? And I mean, he had the game of his life. I watched the game.
Yeah.
It was crazy. What do you do? What do you do special?
Yeah, you try to minimize, you know, the damage. You know, he had 13 catches for 269 yards, I think, against Nevada. He's a different kind of receiver. He reminds me a little bit of, was it Anquan Bolden They played with Arizona and played maybe with Baltimore Ravens. You know, he's not the tall, rangy, smooth kind of guy. He's this explosive, strong, violent kind of receiver. So I think Anquan Bolden would be a guy that comes to mind right now. And when he catches it, he goes after it violently. And after he catches it, he's going to try to run you over. You know, their scheme prevents you from doing a lot. You know, they're a team with number 4 on this side and number 81 on this side, and number 1 and 24 lined up in that backfield. So if you start doing too much to 4, there's some other weapons. They're in a pro-style offense because they have pro-style personnel. You know, so there's not a whole lot you can do schematically necessarily, numbers-wise. You know, we do have some pretty good corners. You know, you look at the plays D'Angelo Ross made and Burrell made at Fresno. There were a couple, I'm talking about bang, bang, deep ball throws. They've continued to play really well. So you have to be smart. I think the big thing is you have to tackle him after he catches it. You better not tackle him high or run you over. There's a reason he caught 12 or 13. Schematically, you're not going to be able to do a whole lot. That's the beauty of what they do and the personnel they have. So it's a challenge. There's a reason they've had 600 yards 3 times, you know. And you know, what was it last year? They put 46 on Air Force. They killed us, and then they went to San Diego State and had over 600 yards and 63 points. And then they played on the ice ring in the Idaho Bowl and got beat. They didn't get killed. I mean, they came roaring back in the second half and had about 400 yards in the second half of that game, but it was too late. So, I mean, they are on a roll, and they're a good team. They're a good team.
Coach, we talked about Lamar's psyche. Defense has given up 38 points in back-to-back games, and now offense is another good team. Do you worry about their psyche as well? If they keep getting beat up and how they respond, especially since you have a lot of new starters on defense?
I think we've got some competitive guys and some competitive coaches, and I think we'll continue to compete on that side of the ball. Okay, guys, fight on.